It's me again. Let's go ahead and touch on this subject. Why is boxing becoming a dirty sport? What's up with Rigondeaux, HBO, and Top Rank? Or Top Fraud, how one of my subscribers called it. What is going on? I think the best question to ask is not that. The best question to ask is, what's going on with the boxing fans? Or better yet, the YouTube boxing fan. What's going on with them? You see, we're living in a generation of boxing fans that most of them aren't real mans. Yeah, you heard right. They aren't real men that are able to think for themselves, make decisions of themselves, view something, analyze it, and judge it by themselves. We live in a generation of boxing fans where they're so easily guided by what the media says, like a laboratory rat in those already predestined courses. Laboratory rats that are psychologically forced to go whichever direction the scientists build the whole course. That's the type of generation of boxing fan going around today. And why do I say all of this? Because when you sit in YouTube and you go through other people's videos and you go through other people's comments on those videos, you can't help it but to read those comments. And they are the most ignorant comments you can ever come across. Most of them are. Not every fan out here in YouTube is like that, but most of them are. Okay. We live in a generation of boxing fan where they can sit down, watch a fight, and instead of doing what a real fan's supposed to do, which is look at the fight, look at the fighters, analyze it, ignore the media, the commentators. They are easily misguided and lied to by what they want you to believe. Ignoring real talent. Ignoring real boxers. Why do I say this? HBO just recently did this image with Donair. HBO is trying to rebuild the Flash brand. Rebuild this product, this counterfeit product that was once sold to you, and then an expert came in, didactically and dissectically told you by pulling it apart that this was a counterfeit product, that this wasn't what you thought it was, but now you ignore what that expert says. You see, it's kind of like when you watch something because you're interested in knowing what it is, and the person that actually knows what it is comes in and tells you what it is, and you ignore that person, what does that make you? What I always called you, an ignorant. Why do I say this? Rigondeaux, since the beginning of his professional boxing career, showed the world of boxing that he was going to be the master at what he does. To the point that they took him with 7 professional fights and gave him his first title shot. And he took it. He did took it. To the point where he was being so criticized. And the people that were behind him were being so criticized. Dante Nation being one of them. He was criticized a lot. I was criticized. Especially when me and Dante did a video together. So I can name a few. But everybody that actually gave credit to Rigo was heavily criticized, saying that a fight between him and Nonito would never happen. And if he did, he would get knocked out. Well, the professor came in, taught you the class, but you failed. That's what happened to Donair. Because Donair was still stuck in the Ice Age. He wasn't thinking of modern boxing, which is the art of hitting and not getting hit. which I already did a video explaining what the meaning of hitting and not getting hit, in my opinion, is. And that video should pop up at the bottom of this video, almost at the end of the video. You see, here's the deal. I don't get how you people can go around saying the Rigo is boring as true boxing fans. I don't get how you, as a man that can think for yourself and not being led by what the media says, I don't get how you cannot sit down, watch the man and say, well, it ain't that he's boring, it's just he's so freaking good that it might look a little boring. Because you want to see the man challenged. And he has been challenged. He was challenged. He fought a Cordoba who had 40-something victories. Good opponent for a guy with less than 10 fights. Beat him. He was knocked down in that fight, supposedly. I agree with it. Beat him. He fought American, a bigger guy, a young fighter. Dropped him twice. He was challenged in that fight. Still only lost 2 rounds in that fight. Yet you get some hypocrites out there in YouTube telling you, it could have gone either way. The fight was fairly close. It could have gone either way. And you guys believe it. Why can't you just be a man and start thinking for yourself? I mean, after all, I can't just walk into your house and tell you to jump in front of a car and for you to do it. Right? You will stop and think before actually doing what I'm telling you to do. Do the same thing in boxing. Coffee. It's a good thing this is a camera and you can't smell my breath, because it smells like coffee. But anyways, back to what we're talking about. You're criticizing Rigo because he's boring. A lot of you have made the ridiculous comment, Rigo ain't got no power. You mean to tell me a guy with 70-something%, maybe 80% of his victories by KO ain't got no power? Why? Because he couldn't knock out a Nonito that was weighing 140-something pounds the night of the fight? Really? Or is boxing all about KO? No. You see, that's one thing I don't get. I'm gonna throw a straight bullet at one of the YouTubers. I don't get Carcino. If one of you subscribe to him, send him this video. Or send him over here. I don't get you, brother. I'm going to call you a hypocrite. I really do think you're a hypocrite. So you say what your subscribers want you to say in order to keep your subscribers. You can't just speak the truth willingly, accepting that you will be criticized. Why do I say this? Why am I being so harsh or perhaps disrespectful? Which I don't think I'm being disrespectful. Because I've never considered the truth to be disrespect. He's one of the guys that goes around saying Rigondeaux ain't worth a rematch, which is with Nonito, which is absurd to me. Usually the loser is the one that it's either worth or not worth of a rematch. But this case, he's saying Rigondeaux ain't worth the rematch. And then he says something that automatically positions him in the hypocrite category, in the liar category. He goes on and says he's boring, he runs. I think he said in one of his videos, he says so many things, I'm just going to go over some of them. He runs, he ain't good enough, he ain't got no power. Let me ask you one question, and I will wait for an answer. I will wait for an answer. How come you criticize and say Rigondeaux does not deserve a shot against Nonito, or does not deserve greatness or publicity? Because according to you, he ain't got no power, he runs, he's too much of a boxer, I guess you're trying to say. He doesn't encounter, he doesn't go toe to toe like you and a lot of people want to see. How come you don't like that in Rigo? How come you criticize those skills, but you go around kissing Floyd's butt, talking about Floyd is the man, and Floyd ain't knocked somebody out since I don't know when, and Floyd and Rigo basically different styles, but same style of fighting, if I may say, when it comes to slicksters of the game, professors of the game. How come it's wrong in Rigondeaux, but you go around kissing Mayweather's butt because you hang around with him, talking about he's the man? Well, isn't Floyd Mayweather a guy that likes to hit and not get hit? A guy that likes to move around a lot? A guy that likes to box? A guy that really and truly is, to me, it's not that he doesn't have punching power. It's just sometimes he chooses not to knock you out, or it could be the problem with his hands. How come the same things Mayweather possess, and you praise on Mayweather, you criticize on Rigondeaux? He said that Nonito is your friend, and it hurts you to see him getting whooped by Rigondeaux. I would like an answer from you. From you. You see, when you go around saying, well, it ain't that he ain't good, it's just that he ain't got the public, I have to disagree with you on that. Why do I have to disagree with you on that? Well, you take a fighter as a promoter, somebody with money and power, and you constantly showing his face, and you feed it to the public, and you're persistent on what your job is, which is promoting instead of demoting a fighter. That's what Bob Arum is doing, demoting Rigondeaux. You keep feeding him to the public, and this fighter keeps winning. Eventually that fighter will be accepted by the public. But it's not convenient for you. It's not convenient for you. I've always said this is more of a political issue when it comes to boxing. It's so many things. I mean, to the point that HBO had dinner and Rigondeaux was not invited, and Rigondeaux is the king at 122. You heard me say that right. The king. Name me one person that can beat him. One person that can beat him. You mean to tell me that yes, he'll go to 126 for a rematch with Nonito, but he's got to climb the ladder? When other fighters can just jump? Being champions, they can just jump from being champions at 122 to a straight title shot at 126. But you mean to tell me Rigo got to climb that ladder? Are you serious? That's called demoting, blocking a guy from being what he could be. Simple as that. One of you fans, one of you subscribers was kind enough or rude enough to send me a personal message. This thing was long. Where in that personal message, you decide to, instead of representing your people in the right way, really and truly you misrepresented your people. Because I know your people. See, your people is half my people. Half my family's Mexican. And when I see you express yourself like that, talk like that, it just makes me want to puke and think of when somebody looks at you on the streets, they must think, well, that's how Mexicans are. And that's not how Mexicans are. That's just how your ignorant ass is. And here's the deal. You were kind enough to tell me why Cubans ain't good. You referred to me because you said the Cubans ain't got no chin, which right now I can't think of one that's been knocked out completely, really bad, unless it's Angelo Santana. Cubans don't have a heart. Cubans ain't got skills, which I found that pretty bizarre. You referred to say that Cubans ain't got no power. Well, you referred to say that they should take all these Cubans and send them to Mexico for a month and make them real mans so they can learn how to have power, chin, and heart. That's kind of odd to me because here's the deal. I can think of many Mexican fighters, but I'm going to take the legends. I'm gonna take the legend. You say Cubans ain't got no chin because Rigondeaux's been down, Gamboa's been down, Lara's been down, but they've never been knocked out. But I can sit here and be like, well, Chavez Sr. was knocked down. Chavez Sr. has no chin because he was knocked down. And he was knocked out against Costazu. And I can think of that legend and tell you that Chavez Sr. ain't got no heart because Chavez Sr. quit on the stool versus De La Hoya. He se rajó. He quit. He quit. I can sit here and tell you that perhaps some Mexican fighters, or Mexican fighters, because you generalize the Cuban fighters, Mexican fighters really and truly don't really go toe to toe. Because see, we had a Salvador Sanchez who liked to box. We had a Finito Lopez who brawled, but he liked boxing. You see, when you criticize a certain fighter, make sure that one of your fighters hasn't committed the same crime. Otherwise, your statement is not going to be fully backed up. What is becoming a boxing that the fans can't think for themselves? What is becoming a boxing that the fans and the judges are so corrupted, that the fans are governed by the people in power to believe what they want you to believe? What is becoming a boxing? Watch the video that pops under this video, this skull. What is boxing? The art of hitting and not getting hit. And that should maybe explain to you who has that question in your head what the art of hitting and not getting hit is. Or at least in my opinion. Drop your comments, subscribe. I'm out. See, no, I'm waiting on that answer.